You can't give what you don't have. When you are talking about integrity, you are really talking about the real person, who that person is.
When you talk of integrity, you talk of honesty. To be honest. And to be honest means to be trustworthy, to be truthful. And politics is science and art of government.
Politics is about the people.
Yes.
And if you talk about it in a deeper sense, it has to do with how people take decision on how to lead themselves.
It is no longer news that Nigeria is Africa's largest economy and a major player in the global economy. But her huge infrastructure deficit, unfortunately, has constrained economic growth and development, thus obstructing her ability to improve the quality of life as envisioned by her governments at several levels. Nigeria's infrastructure is in a deplorable state, and the need to change this narrative continues to widen, especially in the face of changing technologies and modern trends. Is this deplorable state and decay of infrastructure suggestive of Nigeria's decay as a country? In other words, how well is Nigeria's moral, political, mental, economic, emotional, and spiritual condition faring? We will attempt to provide answers to these and many other questions on this week's edition of the program, Christians in Politics. You're welcome back. In our program this week, we shall be discussing the state of infrastructure in Nigeria, a call for government intervention. And to discuss this with me today are Venerable Joseph Unoya, who is the Director of Civic and Political Affairs in the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion and the Chaplain to the National Assembly. Venerable, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And I have Mr. Azuka Ikeliani, a cyber security analyst and CEO of AZ Info Securities Limited, located in Abuja. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
My name is Chukweme Kalum Anyakwa, and let's get perspectives on this discussion today. Venerable, let me start with you. 57 years, approximately 57 years after independence, how would you rate the condition of Nigeria's infrastructure?
I think without beating around the bush, the condition is bad. The condition is bad. It's a high time we begin to tell ourselves the raw truth so that we see if we can get over the situation we have at hand. Which side do you really want to look at? Is it electricity, power generation and distribution? Is it the issue of pipe-borne water? Is it the issue of roads, good roads? Is it the issue of infrastructures in schools? So the situation is really bad. And the earlier we wake up and begin to do something practical and tangible about this situation, the better for us as a country. We expect that by now we should have gone far beyond where we are at the moment. It's really a sad story to tell when you see what we have all over the country. It's a sad story. If you sit down in Abuja here, you may think that all is well. But the truth is that when you go around the country, you see that things are not all right. Things are not all right. We are still far away from where we're supposed to be. I think those in the corridor of power need to wake up to the reality of the situation. It's sad that in this 21st century, you can still see students studying under a mango tree. You can still enter classroom where you will be seeing the sky from the roof because the roofs are just gone. So I think we are still very far from where we're supposed to be. Then when you come to the issue of roads, we have death traps all over. We're going to maybe be talking more on this issue of roads, because it's just nothing to write home about. So I think the situation is really bad. I think the right word is that the situation is bad.
Okay, coming to you, Mr. Ikeliani, you are a young star, you know, the youth of the day. How would you assess the infrastructure development of Nigeria today?
If you look at the infrastructure we have now, you know, infrastructure is a vital tool for the development of any nation. If you don't have functioning infrastructure, the economic situation of the country will not be thriving. And when you have those infrastructure like good roads, other infrastructure, power, good pipeline water, then the standard of living will improve, the economic situation of the country will improve. But when you look at Nigeria, because we don't have all those vital infrastructure or functioning infrastructure, so-called functioning infrastructure, that's why the economic development we have for these past few days have not translated to economic development. We have the indices, we hear them talking about the economy is improving day by day, but it's not translating to development. And once growing up as a young man, we read, or when we were in school, we are taught that we have all those in the 60s or in the 70s, we have refineries working, we have good roads, we have water, people will graduate and they'll be able to get work. It's not that you graduate and be looking for work, the work will be looking as in like government already provide those basic infrastructures. But now all those infrastructures we have, or we are using them to boast as giants of Africa, all of them are in deplorable state now, and it has made the economy of Nigeria not to move, and people that we are growing together then as a developing nation has gone ahead of us. So I would think that the government has not really done enough to maintain those infrastructure or to build more, because in any nation that doesn't have functioning infrastructure will not grow. You just keep on developing day by day, and at the end you will not translate to development, and people will keep on suffering, because one, you will not see the investors will not be able to enter the country, because if an investor that is entering the country will look at basic infrastructure first. If you don't have those basic infrastructure, when an investor comes into your country and start constructing the road for you, when an investor comes into your country and starts doing the power, be able to provide power to function his factory, it's as in if you put all these things into state, the investors will they calculate all this and look at it before they try to come into the country. And that's why you see we don't have many investors. Even the one we have, like Tesla's industry, we have then in Kaduna that were working. Where are they today? You are not maintained, and all of them now has dilapidated and decay, and there is nowhere to be found, or there is no way we can strive or try to look at them again to say, oh, this is what we have, or what people built for us. So the government has not really done enough to maintain those infrastructures.
So do you think the government has failed in their duties to maintain infrastructures? Where did we go wrong? What happened?
It's not a question of whether I think. It's glaring. It's something that is glaring. Even those in the corridor of powers know that. They know that there's failure on their own part.
How sure are you they know?
No, they know. They know. We have the privilege of interacting with some of these people who are, those politicians in high positions. We have interacted with many of them, asked them question, how do you feel about the situation we have on ground? And when you hear them talking, the only thing is that they will talk like the way ordinary Nigerians would be talking, as if they are not the people who should be held accountable. But they all directly or indirectly acknowledge the fact that our infrastructure are bad and that we have not moved. After all, they are the one who have bought expensive cars, and they don't have even good road to ride them. So they know they even though they prefer to fly on air, but airport is not in every politician's village. When they land in an aerodrome, they still have to go by road to connect their village. So they know that the infrastructure on ground is so bad.
Sir, do you know why I'm asking if you are sure they know? Because one wouldn't buy a 2017 Lamborghini car when he knows he doesn't have a road to ride on or drive on. Because how would somebody buy an expensive car only to come on the road and find himself in an accident or part of the car destroyed or damaged? How are you sure these people are actually, you know, in the know that they know that the roads are not good?
I keep referring to the statement made some years ago by Dr. Sarah Jubril. He said many Nigerians, especially the politicians, are suffering from poverty of the mind. If it is not the issue of poverty of the mind, so I don't see why somebody would go and buy a car of 30 million, of 20 million, or 15 million, when there's no road to even ride it, no good road to ride it.
Why is it like that? What did we do wrong? Is it that Nigerians are not, I don't know, how can you explain that? Because it doesn't make sense to me, does it?
I think we need to continue to reorientate ourselves. The National Orientation Agency, by our standard, is not doing enough yet. They need to do more to continue to reorientate Nigerians to really see life the way life should be seen. I think many people have gotten it wrong. So we need serious orientation. And I think we men of God, we have a lot of job to do. Imams have a lot of job to do. Royal fathers have a lot of job to do in trying to reorientate people, in trying to refocus people to really face life the way it's supposed to be. You see, what surprises me is the fact that many Nigerians, the ones who call the Dick and Harris, the street boys, the area boys, the downtrodden, all of them know what to do to solve the problem of this Nigeria. They have come the politicians who have the authority, the power, the means to address these things. They are not doing it. Instead, they prefer to travel abroad. Any little thing, they travel abroad. In terms of health, they travel abroad to take care of themselves. Why can't they think of, if they are really thinking right, why can't they think of at least building a first-class hospital in Nigeria? Is it that we don't have money to build a first-class hospital in Nigeria where our president, where our senators, where our big people can get the best of facilities here in Nigeria? After all, the hospital they run to in overseas, you go there, it is Nigerians, blacks, that are operating it. The only difference is that the infrastructures are there and they are functional. The equipments are all there, but we don't have it here. Go to our hospital. Go to the Truman Center in National Hospital, and you'll be amazed that there's really nothing there. So it's a question of reorientation. Why should you be building a house that is worth billions of naira, and after building it, you don't think of how to even put the street that leads to that very house right? You come out from the house that is made of marble everywhere, interlocked and well tied. Then you drive out and enter. I'll be swimming in erosion in your street.
I would like to get the perspective of the cybersecurity analyst here. So, you're a youngster, and I believe in your bid to move around the country to get businesses. You've come across some of these things. What do you think is wrong with these our leaders who have failed to build roads, even after acquiring millions of dollars worth of cars? What do you think is wrong with them?
I think I'll mention two things. One, selfishness, misplaced priority. Why do I call misplaced priority? Misplaced priority in the sense that we find a leader, somebody that is elected into government. He are there to serve the people. He are in this position to provide this basic amenity or basic infrastructure to the people. You will find out that whenever someone enters the government or enters in the position that is elected to, he will not continue to where the other person stops. They like trying to initiate new one, and that's why you find out that you see many abandoned projects littered all over the country.
So what is responsible for this?
See, the reason is this. Why
that's why I call it selfishness and misplaced priority.
Now,
Let me have Venerable's perspective. Yeah.
The reason why there's no continuity, you see, if he was the governor that was there before, he awards a contract of a road. Then when I come, I ask to replace him as a governor, I abandon that road and start awarding the contract of a new one. Is because from the award of contract, that is where they get all this their money.
And be able to settle their political...
Yeah. So that is just the reason. It borders on selfishness.
Selfishness and...
It's not a question of, okay, let's do this thing once and for all so that the people will be happy.
Yes.
Everything the people in the corridor of power are doing as of today in Nigeria, from my personal assessment, has selfishness as the undertone. They are concerned about themselves. That is why if they are eyeing the second term in office, they will come and be putting sand in the street, in your road, to give you the picture that they want to construct. Once the election is over, it's over. It's because the primary driving force is not the people, the welfare of the people. It is their own gain. What are we going to gain? How do we manipulate the people to get what we want? That is it.
Venerable, some of the people we have spoken to in one or two occasions have said that the problem actually is not constructing more roads, but, you know, what do you call it now, to revamp the ones, to restructure the ones we have, amend the ones that have been damaged. Do you think that is correct? Others feel, no, you need to enlarge, you know, your road networks.
Yes. Now, the question of enlargement is desirable. To enlarge roads is desirable because the population is expanding by the day. Certainly, we need expansion. Those days, in a whole community, you may have only one chief having one car. But today, no matter how remote the village is, there are cars everywhere. And you find that most families have 1, 2, 3 cars to themselves. And so, all these things put pressure on existing infrastructure. So, there is need for expansion. But aside that, I think we need to have the culture of maintaining what we have. I give you a good example. One of the legacy that the late Professor Ambrose Ali left behind in Edo State is good road network in Edo Central, particularly Ekpoma area. Every street was nylon tarred, but go there today, it's a mess. It's a sad story that a place that was that good before, today you cannot move. I just returned from my annual leave, and you can't believe it that I was in Ekpoma in Edo State for 3 weeks. I could not cross from the side of the town where my family house is to the other side where my son, if we have his own accommodation. He's a student in Ambrose Ali University. I could not visit him, and I was in town for 3 weeks.
You're even talking about states, moving to the city. What of interstate road?
We will come to that now. I'm still even talking about within the town. Within the town, I could not cross. My elder sister is there. I could not visit her. Not because I didn't want to, because there's no way. If you want to visit any person, you begin to draw map, you begin to consult. Whose backyard? Where are we going to
Which
follow?
Which way would you take?
When you get to so junction, which side will you follow so that you'll be able to connect? It's totally, the roads are totally in the mess. You see cars who have no choice, no, they attempt to cross. They are swimming inside the erosion and they get stuck at the middle. Then you just pity Nigeria. So if you cannot build new ones, for Christ's sake, can't we maintain what we inherited? You see, if I cannot build a new road, then what does it take me to build a new one? You know, the maintenance culture of Nigerians is so poor. If you, let's take for example, go to Gwarimpa. The roads are good in Gwarimpa, but now potholes are developing at the center of the road. You see a pothole. The pothole will be left there for 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3, until it continues to expand, until vehicles start falling into it.
We have maintenance agency that
there are maintenance agency. FEMA is there. We have the government at the state level, at local government level. You begin to wonder, can somebody think of coming to cover up this small pothole before it becomes a gully? So this is the situation we find ourselves. For instance, let me go back to that Ekpoma experience because that is very practical. What happened is that the Benin, Auchi, Abuja expressway is so bad. It got to a point there were 3 spots where no vehicle can pass through. So the heavy trucks and all the vehicles that were supposed to be passing through the express decided to be passing through all the streets inside the town. And within the space of 1 week, every single street and road in that very town was completely destroyed. The youths wanted to be proactive, to say, we will not allow these heavy trucks to be passing through the street, the front of people's houses and all that. If they cannot pass through the expressway that is completely cut off at different points and government cannot do anything about it, so let it be. But they allowed the Royal Majesty there said, well, everyone have the right to use any road that is available, allow them. But I think he too is regretting it now. You cannot even pass the front of his house today. No vehicle can pass there. So this trailer with heavy loads started passing through people's backyard, every small street, wherever they can squeeze themselves in. And so they have messed up the whole area now. Nowhere to go, nowhere to pass. So it's the city, the town is grounded. And now what gives me concern, that is a university town. And that university have a very high population. And if you go there, every bit of Nigeria is, aspect of this nation is represented in that very town. You find the Hausas, you find the Yorubas, you have the Igbos. Every tribe is represented there. What kind of picture are we giving to our children? Students that are going to school, they will hold their shoes in their hand and stay on top of bike because they certainly you will put leg inside water, dirty water somewhere, the bike will fall down and the person will need to go and it's a terrible situation.
Let me put you on a hold here. We'll continue to get perspectives on this issue, which is the state of infrastructure in Nigeria and a call for government to intervene. We'll go on a very short break now. When we return, we'll look at palliative measures on how to salvage this menace. Don't go away.
Away from a hall is another serious threat at the Irekme axis, and the inhabitants have capitalized on the situation to hoard their goods.
oil and garri now they sell before. Now bread and mineral now come they sell now. You know the rich take the chop. I beg me na come help us. I beg me na come help us because of the road no good. Maybe because they sell bread and mineral. I beg. Government I beg.
When vehicles get stuck, others have to wait behind them and then hope on these boys who apparently become their only way out of their nightmares. One reason why the road experiences a lot of traffic is the presence of the State University in Ekuma, as well as the Auchi Polytechnic in Auchi. The university town is also plagued with a series of bad roads and failed portions shortly before the Okpoji junction. This is putting so much pressure on the lane infrastructure in the town. As for these residents and business owners, the government needs to open up more routes around Uke and other access to decongest the main road.
The way out is to find alternative routes to this major highway, Benin-Auchi Road. One of the big institutions, Ambrosali universities, is along this route. And there's no alternative route from the university to the town, to the community. So if there can be a route, on that route linking university through Uke, Ujuele to Ukmenu, we will reduce the pressure from this community, from the major route to be good. The Umudumu road is bad, and that one can also be put in order to relieve the pressure on this road, and the community will be well. And the linking road is also bad. There's no road linking the express road, except the one at G2 Road and others. All the other roads are all bad. So if all this pressure, there will be pressure on this highway, and it will reduce accidents on the major road. These are things we need to do. And also, there need to be a lot of community efforts, both the federal and the state and local government, in order to collaborate to reduce the pressure. It will not be based on the federal government alone, and the contractor need to be monitored and supervised. You don't need to be having what we call window dressing. Anytime government raise alarm on this road, just what you are doing, we will see them around to reduce pressures. There are major schools around, other private institutions and government institutions are here. The last time we saw the contractor, it was when the Senate committees and all the governors also raised alarm with the ministers. So we want a real presence of them maintaining this route. Now we are coming to the Eba season, so we really need their attention.
The story of the poor state of the Benin-Auchi Road continues to the Okbila Junction, resulting in a waste of time and economic resources.
I've been in this road for more than 1 hour just because of the bad road.
It's become quite unfortunate that journeys of less than an hour now takes 3 to 4 hours. We hope this government would heed the call of the numerous travelers on the Benin-Auchi road and quickly come to the raid.
Heavy-duty trucks maneuvering potholes in Otoko Township due to the mainly filled portion as small vehicles and motorcycles avoid them. Relics from a sad event which claimed 7 lives still lies by the roadside a few meters away from St. Francis College. The accident involved a vehicle and this fallen truck within Otoko Township. This is just but one of the many sad tales of plying the major link from Makadi through Otoko to the southeast with food and agricultural products.
Very, very bad, especially if you are taking it, if you are entering Otoko from Makadi, from the railway crossing there, that place.
In a bid to avoid the usual horror of traveling this stretch of the road just before St. Francis College, most vehicles, including heavy-duty trucks, now divert into the streets, a situation which has created additional challenges.
As you can see now, especially rainy season, they snap the road, make sure the road, so many companies, and then the end of the government, nothing will be done. So when we complain and say this is federal road project, and yet nothing will be done out of it. Up to
Further down the city is another death trap at the Enugu roundabout in Otoko, stretching through the township towards Aliade to Boko. At the Abuja field portion, Channels TV crew had a taste of what some of the truck drivers are faced with while attempting to get to their destinations. A resident of Awajir, Mr. Vincent Yongo, explains how commuters and residents have for the last 2 years suffered untold hardship on the road.
This road has been very bad for quite a long time, over 2 years. For the last year, a volunteer passed here. He saw the situation of the road, which was very, very bad. He decided to bring the situation. The whole thing has become very, very bad. This is a federal road, and I feel they should come and create a normal channel.
In fact, it affects me very well because Boko Awaji Road now.
Many trucks and vehicles are now forced to divert through the side tracks into a fuel station to avoid the bad road. Some of the youths worry about the economic losses to the community and Nigeria as 2 heavy-duty trucks laden with farm produce were involved in an accident which led to loss of their goods.
I say it affects the economic of Nigeria entirely because it's people. Then we are pleading to the government that they should at least come and help us.
The pains of motorists are compounded by more filled portions between Awajir and Aliade, which connects Makurdi. The Makurdi-Boko through Katsina Ala to Taraba is another failed road requiring the urgent intervention of the federal government.
A vehicle stuck in a pothole on the road in Tank, Romukrushi in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Men and a traffic police officer tried to redeem the situation that appears to compound the already frustrating traffic congestion, with many resorting to trekking. Some blame this.
It's because of the bad road. There's no way. When you stay for more than 2-3 hours on the road like that, you find a way. They have to run one way in order to meet up.
This young man tells us that the various repair works on the road has not yielded a lasting solution.
This road has been terrible for years. It didn't start today. It has been like this since 1995 we moved in here. We've been suffering from one position to another. Right now what it is they say it's under construction, but it has been like this for almost a year now. As you can see that position over there, when they did the east-west road, it got better a little bit. People could pass, but before you knew it, a spot down there got bad, and instead of them to just fill it and allow people pass for a while, but they left it like that, and that place is what is causing all these things you're seeing now.
That area used to be congested.
However, the Rivers Police Command is also worried about the situation and sets up a traffic decongestion. As the Police Traffic Committee get to work and the government makes good its promise to fix the bad roads, residents can only hope for a free-flowing traffic situation as soon as possible.
If you are just joining us, this is Christians in Politics, coming to you from the broadcast studios of the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN, broadcasting from Abuja. And we've been looking at the state of infrastructure in Nigeria and a call for government intervention. I have been discussing with Venerable Joseph Unwaya, Director of Political Affairs, Civic and Political Affairs, I beg your pardon, of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, and the chaplain to the National Assembly, and Mr. Azuka Ikeliane, a cybersecurity analyst, also resident in Abuja. Just before we went on the break, we were talking about the bad state of the roads, and we just saw clips of the current condition of these roads, especially in Edo State, in Benue State, in Kogi State, and other parts. These roads have caused the increase in number of accidents, road accidents that we have in the country. And what is the plight of the common man? Venerable, like you were on your annual leave, you just came back. What do you think the people are suffering? What is the condition of the people right now?
Yes, the condition is bad. I just give you a vivid example. There was a spot very close to Okpila where the highway was completely cut into two, and the only place, narrow spot that could be managed is what everyone is trying to squeeze himself through. And on this side, you have over 100 trailers lined up with small cars tucking in between them. Then on the opposite direction, you have over 100 of Dangote's trailer with cement lined up on the other side. Then at that very center, you have youths. These are supposed to be travelers swimming inside this mud, soaked, and all of them with sticks, with all sorts of objects in their hand. No, they are using it to control the traffic, to forcefully stop one for the other one, to maneuver the spot. Then you just see terrible situation, security challenge. we are talking about kidnapping, we are talking about robbery, then honestly, I was afraid. If there's a robbery incident in this very place, what is going to happen? Even if you call for police, they cannot get to that very spot. And these are travelers with their belongings, and they are just there stocked. And you stay hours in such spot, sweating. Some people's vehicle we develop fault because the vehicle have run at one spot for some hours. When you cannot look at it, you just have to switch off. So it's really a bad situation that the government need to take urgent step to correct. Then you begin to wonder, can there be palliative measure apart from the government, especially talking about that Benin, Auchi, Okpila Road? I feel corporate organization like Dangote's company in particular, it should be able to take some steps to address. So you cannot.
In terms of social responsibility,
yes,
of some private companies.
apart from even normal social responsibility, you cannot be doing your personal business at the expense of every other person. I talk about Ekpoma town. It's Dangote trailer primarily that destroyed the whole town. How? Because of the volume of this, and these are trailer loaded with cement. You need to know the weight that this thing can. If they pass through a street, even the third road, by the time a trailer pass through, everything will crack. Then within 1 week, that road has given.
But you're accusing, you're fingering the Dangote company, but they are not the only ones who have heavy-duty vehicles on the roads.
I'm talking particularly now of a spot or of an axis where you have Dangote company and you cannot move one electric pole without two Dangote trailer passing you or you passing them. And from that stretch, from Benin down to Okpila, go there, seeing is believing. You see them, all of them are labeled. If you have 50 trailers lined up, out of those 50, over 40 is Dangote cement trailer. And these spots are bad. Some of these trailers will fall, be grounded on the spot. Every other person will be stranded. Is it not right? Is it not reasonable? If government is not proactive enough to do something, can the company also attend to such spots?
Well, very sorry to cut you short from there. And I think in this situation, government has failed in some
terribly
in some of the parties.
Before you go on, Azuka, before you go on, this government came into power with on the mantra of change to bring about infrastructure development and all whatnot. Are you trying to say that after 2 years, that the APC-led government has failed in providing the basic infrastructure for the people?
Don't zero it on APC alone. We are talking about government generally.
Why I'm calling names is because when they came, they've admitted that the past governments contributed to the failure and the destruction
of this infrastructure.
Okay, so they should have done something by now, don't you think?
But we're talking about road now. What about the railway parts? Because if the railway is working, then you have the transportation through the water is working, the pressure on the road will reduce.
So you're saying?
Yes, the other means of transportation should be looked into. Because the pressure on the road is too much. Everybody is plying the road 247, and the trailers and with the heavy loads plying on the road, that makes the road to decay easily. And the quality of the work the so-called construction companies are giving to Nigeria are very poor.
It's very poor.
If you construct a road, the duration of the road that's supposed to last maybe 15, 20 years or 30 years maximum.
Within 1 year.
Within 1 year, 2 years, you find out that everything has been washed away by erosion.
So why are Nigerians not asking questions?
Nigerians are asking questions.
Nobody is
listening. For example, we are traveling to Lagos the other day. Like Remy was saying, at a particular spot, we have to stop. Because of the bad road, we have to enter through a remote village to start maneuvering to find our way. And when we go to a place, trailers are even trying following other small cars to follow that place. We are stuck.
Let me ask.
And the community, but another danger. See, another thing is cropping up now. Because of trying to maneuver to pass through streets, try to pass through villages in the bush, all these unemployed youths, hooligans, Another day now go there, block the road
and
start collecting money. If you don't have money, they will molest you there. And there's nothing you can do. You drove into the bush to go and meet somebody in his village. What do? You have no other way of passing the place. You just have to part with money. I mean, this is not healthy. It's not healthy. What kind of picture is this giving to the world? We are talking about even Nigeria. Let's leave other investors. Our government have been conversing that our sons and daughters in diaspora should come home to come and invest. And they are seeing this thing. They are hearing about this thing. They are seeing it in television. You just see all those clips. The whole world will see it. What kind of picture is this sending to the world? If you were to be the one, you are living in Europe or in US, will you want to live there to come and be investing in this kind of environment? Then just think of somebody who is not a Nigerian. If you as a Nigerian, you have money, and another country is telling you come and invest, and you see the state of their roads in the way it is now, will you carry your money?
Sir, but don't you think this is a good market? You know, because business thrives where there is inefficiency. You know, a lot of people will capitalize on these ineptitude of our government to sell their wares, to sell their markets.
Any company that wants to invest in
a construction companies like Julius Berger and all of these would, make more money here because they know Nigerians don't ask questions.
But our leaders, investment.
But it helps them to sell their wares more.
And that's why.
But it's only one sector you're talking about.
I'm just talking about every other sector. For instance, let's not hold up. Let's not dwell so much on the road aspect. Take for instance our educational sector. The universities, unfortunately, no one Nigeria is one of the top 90 or even 100 universities in the world. No. And when you go to the universities, you don't have e-library, you don't have up-to-date equipped library. You don't have good learning environment. You may have
of the curriculum we are using.
No, that one is another issue. I'm talking about the environment that makes it conducive. Somebody just told me something yesterday that when you travel abroad, he has not seen any Nigerian student who travels abroad and comes back without having a result, a good one.
In fact, they excel, they do better.
Yeah, because they have better environment.
Yes. They do better because that is where, for me, I feel that even the blacks are more intelligent than the so-called people out there. Because when black people go out, you see the way they dust these people in the Western world. The difference is just the infrastructure, the environment.
For instance, doctors in America, most of them are blacks.
Now, talking about infrastructure in school and the state of decay and the lack of progress in our system. As at the time I went to university, precisely I went to Abuja University for my first degree, I sat on the floor as a university student, as a reverend.
What year was that?
1989. I sat on the floor. Why? If I come for GST lectures, the class is filled to capacity. People are sitting on top of windows. So those of us who come a little bit late, you'll be standing in the sun outside and hearing the voice of a lecturer inside the hall, and you don't even see the face of the lecturer. So I decided, okay, to be able to get into the hall, I have to get there an hour before time. And you get there an hour before time, the whole place is already filled up. The only space remaining is just the little platform by the chalkboard where the lecturer will stand. And as a reverend with collar on my neck, I sit down on the floor, receiving lecture as an undergraduate. And the sad aspect of it now is that after many years, my son is back to that very same university. He's coming to tell me the same story, that he's sitting on the floor. He's sitting outside. That the lecture hall is full, and it's a sad story.
There is no gainsaying that the infrastructure of Nigeria needs a revamping, a rejigging. You can join the conversation by sending us your experience in your part of the country or wherever you're watching us from. On Facebook, it is facebook.com/ACNNTV. And on Twitter, it is twitter.com/ACNN ACNNTV, and let's hear your thoughts. Remember, you can follow us on our website at www.acnn.com, and let's have your thoughts and experiences wherever you are watching us from. Daddy, let's go into the solutions, because when you have problems, it is not enough to talk about them. I choose to call them challenges. Nigeria is being facing through these, going through these challenges. What should we do? First of all, you are the chaplain to the National Assembly. In your capacity, have you been able to talk sense into some of these senators who come to your chapel for midday prayers and all of these? They have people they represent, and sometimes they collect millions of naira to go home for constituency projects. And at the end of the day, some of these things are not done. So do you think we should be waiting for the federal government? These senators who are under your spiritual guidance at the National Assembly, how have you been able to, make them change their ways?
Now, first of all, we have to correct an impression, because there is so much of wrong impression we have now about these institutions of government. Senators are not the one to construct road, really. Neither House of Rep members.
But they have constituted.
Their primary duty is to legislate.
They have constituency projects.
But
which
where they should come in is the question of legislation and the question of doing proper oversight. And they are doing it, but we are talking to them that they are not doing enough. Before now, many of them catch on that to make money for themselves. They go there and certify road when the road is not.
Sorry, sir. I hope you're not trying to take sides with them. Some of these lawmakers,
that's the point I'm trying to
they collect money for constituency projects.
No, wait, I'm coming. Constituency project is a very minor something.
But if we begin to do this every other month, don't you think there will be improvement in the infrastructure?
Hold on. Constituency project is a very tiny issue when it comes to the matter on ground. And some of them, we are not here to defend them. We have been talking to them. I was trying to make a point which was to make you understand that we are not trying to cover up any person. I was trying to say that one of the greatest tools they have to use to ensure that these things are properly done is their oversight function. They have the right to go and inspect any project that is going on in Nigeria, to either endorse it, to say that it is properly done or that it's not properly done, or call to question the contractor or the person who awarded the contract and all that. It's a very powerful tool in the hand of the legislators. And before now, many of them have abused that. They go for this oversight function and certify that a road has been constructed where properly done when they know that it's not properly, because money have changed hand on that at the backyard. So to that extent, many of them have failed Nigeria. And in terms of a constituency project, many of them have also abused it. Some of them have been able to use it to bring up one thing, one project or the other in their community. Some of these projects are abandoned. So we are talking to them, those who care to come to the fellowship. We don't spare the way. If I'm preaching in the National Assembly, I don't even here. I'm more reserved there, because we are looking at ourselves one-on-one. We talk frankly, and I tell them, some of you have no chance for second term. It's either you do something now, or just forget about coming back, because Nigerians cannot be fooled over and over again. If Nigerians are now enlightened, you just need to do something so that if you want to come back to this very office, you just have to be accountable. I tell them, I ask some of them, apart from the fellowship, when I visit some of them in their offices, I ask them, how many times have you gone to your constituency to brief them, to tell them what you are doing, to tell them what you are trying to help them push at the national level?
Because of our time, sir, I'll come back to you for the final words. Azuka, you are a cyber analyst, cyber security analyst. In what ways are you using your skills as a webmaster to drive home this point and to press for the revamping, or would I say the betterment of the infrastructure in Nigeria?
I think in terms of technology, government needs to look into the aspect of technology in order to grow the country too. I'll give you an example. Have you passed through Ajakuta Steel and look at the amount of, or the number of jobs that particular place would have created?
So what is your skill? What are you doing with your skill to make sure that these officials see the need? Because I think most of them don't see the need.
In terms, based on aspect of cybersecurity, we work is not is an infrastructure, but it's not something that you can use. We use it to defend for unforeseen attacks that happens into a network of technology. But the way I think I can contribute, the government needs to look into, in terms of budgets. Let's look at our budget. Our recurrent expenditure, we spend so much on it. You made mention now of the National Assembly. You know the amount of money they pay them to just sit down there and talk. And I think the government needs to look into it. Let's try to do something that it will not be a full-time job.
Okay.
So that the amount of money they spend on them, or the recurrent expenditure spent on salaries, on other things, can be channeled into infrastructure. Because once these infrastructures are working, jobs will be created. And if the private sector comes into the country and create jobs too, the burden will be lessened on the government.
Okay, let me get the final words, Venerable. What should government do now?
I think,
you know, sorry, sir, before you go ahead, a man came out some time ago and said, our Mumu don't do. He formed a movement trying to say that Nigerians are now wiser. You know, what do you think Nigerians should do, and what do you think the government should do?
Yes, I agree that our Mumu don't do. And I support that very movement in all its ramifications, because it's a high time we begin to talk. It's a high time we begin to, until Nigerians begin to ask questions and begin to make demands, things will not improve. That is the essence of pressure group. If there are no pressure group, things will not move the way it's supposed to move. So Nigeria have to begin to ask questions now. Then talking about government, what they should do, I think there's need for palliative measures, in both from the local government level, from the state government, and from the federal government. They should be able to look at these spots that is no making Nigeria to go through or told hardship. Then let them look at it and think of what to do. There should be a way of escape from some of these terrible stuff before the government comes to do a major work.
That's where the issue of sustainability comes in. Because if somebody abandons a project or stop at a particular spot in a project, you have to continue the project instead of trying to initiate new ones.
Now, for instance, it is wrong for instance, go back to Ekboma, for instance, now, the whole street have been destroyed. The citizens don't even have any street to whereby they can bypass their roads. What is wrong with a local government chairman looking at the street and taking one street to connect different angles, so that will be a way of, will you wait continuously for federal government? What is wrong? With
consulting and wait for the federal to repay you back.
Yes. What is wrong with a state government looking at a particular spot where, even if it's federal government road, the road is transversing your own state and your citizens are suffering? Why can't you go to that very particular spot and do something? There are some on the spot that are cut into two on the road that leave every other thing. Just buy cement. Buy bags of cement and gravel, go and do real strong concrete. At least people can manage to pass.
Okay.
There should be palliative measure. Some street, there should be some construction of some street to bypass spots that are like that. So you cannot just fold down. It's local government chairman fold down. State government chairman fold down. We are waiting for Abuja. Abuja is not responding. It's not the best. And the federal government should also know that this suffering at the grassroots level, like this issue of road, is what is making people to talk about restructuring, making them to feel that they don't belong to the system. I don't see how you can convince those people I saw along the road swimming inside mud in the name of traveling. How you will convince them that there's something good in the country, there's something worth dying for? Federal government must take note that if they don't take care of these sports, they cannot get the support of Nigeria. And
this is where we'll come to the end of the program, Christians in Politics. We've been talking with Venerable Joseph Unwanya. He is the Director of Political Affairs, Civic and Political Affairs of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion and the chaplain to the National Assembly, and also Mr. Azuka Ikeliani, cybersecurity analyst and CEO of AZ Info Securities Limited here in Abuja. And we looked at the state of infrastructure in Nigeria and a call for government intervention. I am Chukwuemeka Anyekwa, your host, urging you to stay alert, be prayerful, and know that we are in the end times. Also pray for your leaders, and we hope for a better Nigeria that our children and our children's children will be proud of. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Chukwuemeka Anyekwa. Bye for now.